Hey guys, so I'm going to be doing another ballistics gel test. I'm going to do another test using a deer shoulder, some ribs, and gel. This time the ribs are actually pork ribs. They're not deer ribs. I ran out of those, but the shoulder is the same, from the same deer that I used for the test with the 6.8 for the 450, so that's going to be equal. This time I'm going to be doing it with this upper. This is my 223 Wild. It's a AR Stoner barrel. It's an AR Stoner muzzle brake. Handguard is AIM Sports. It's a Nikon 3.5 to 14 power scope, and it's a DPMS upper receiver. And for this test, I'm going to be using 3 different bullets. The first bullet I got here is the 70 grain GMX bullet. I've been wanting to, test these out for a while now. You can find them loaded in Hornady's tap line, but I can't find it anywhere around here. So these are going to be hand loads doing 2,850 feet per second. And then at the local gun shop, I saw some Hornady Frontier ammo. So I decided to pick up a box of the 75 grain bolt tail hollow point match and a box of the 62 grain spire point. They also make the 55 grain spire point, but I figured the 62 would be better for this type of test. And one thing I do want to point out is I want to just show some of these, because I do hand load the bolt to hollow point match bullets myself too, is I wanted to show that the 70 grain GMX is actually taller than the 75 grain bullet. Now while I was kind of doing this little comparison before whipping up the camera, I noticed if you look at the Hornady Frontier bullet next to this bullet, I'm try to get the camera to focus a little bit better. They're not really identical. You could see the ogive is completely different. Past the neck, it's much more flat on this bullet. So then I decided to pull out one of my my hand-loaded ones that are already preloaded, and you can see the difference between these two bullets too. They're both 75 grain bullets. The shape of the bullet is completely different. If you look from the top side too, the point is a little bit different. Let's see if I can get it. This one on the left is actually bigger. The hole is bigger than all of them. So I'm not really sure what the deal with that is. Now, the first batch of hand loads I made have the crimp in them. These ones don't. So I don't know if it's that. So anyway, I'll do some research, see if I can find out any more information. Alright, so it looks like we got a perfect hit with the 70 grain GMX. The bullet's sitting right here. Do a quick little measurement. We got, I should do this from the front side so you guys can see. In the gel, 13 inches of penetration. Does look like there's some petals in here. No zero neck after going through the leg and everything. Got a 2-inch wide permanent cavity. So, take a little look now at what we did over here. Hit right there, looks like I was hoping, right in the bone. Ho, yeah. Right through that bone with no problem. Shattered that bone to pieces. Ribs, clean hole right through the ribs. You can see the ribs, it did go right through a rib too, so pretty much perfect. You can see here the wound channel as it goes in. Alright, so on to the next bullet, which will be the 62 grain spire point, the Frontier bullet. Let's see if we can get another perfect shot. Alright, well, you can see bullet stopped right here, nowhere near as much penetration. Now I spun the block around, you can see the GMX came through this way and stopped over here. Total penetration is at 6 inches, so not even half of what the other bullet did. Now some of the little marks here were actually there. I had this as a backing block before and the bullet stopped right in the first inch or so. So let's take a look, oops, at what happened to the deer shoulder. Looks like again, hit the bone. Oh, man. I'm trying to hold this thing by the tripod and it keeps moving on me. So again, absolutely obliterated the bone. Hit somewhere in here. The entry holes are pretty hard to see. I think there we go. But obliterated the bone. Huge hole. You can see where it went into the gel there. Pieces, fragments here or there. It's ribs. Of course, they hit the same spot as the GMX did, but I think they hit more towards the top. They're got some good damage to them. The view from the other side and from the top. So that shows the benefit of an all copper bullet, especially when you hit bone like this. But 6 inches into the vitals of a deer, that still would have been into the lungs and the heart. That still would have killed the deer. Pretty good results. Now the last bullet, we will use the Hornady Frontier 75 grain hollow point bow tail. Alright, so that bullet did better than I thought it was going to. It actually got further penetration than the spire point did. Absolutely destroyed the gel. I'm not sure where I hit the leg, if I even hit it. Looks like I might have actually missed the leg. The main fragment stopped at 11 inches. The wound channel, I mean, it's about the whole width of the block, which is about 5 inches. It's pretty nasty. Show you guys from the top. It just blew this gel block apart. It hit kind of close to the side. There's the main mass of the bullet there. Of course, forgot to grab a new glove. So try to do it like this. No new wound through there. No new wound through the ribs. So that means I just hit the gel and it pretty much exploded instantly, which is pretty good. Won't have to take another shot. Alright, I think we got a good hit with that one. Stopped down there, which is 8 inches of penetration. There are flies hovering around this. This is pretty nasty. Wound tract is right above where the GMX was. Looks like it came in at about 3 inches or so. So This time, really surprise. Literally just punched a perfect little round hole through the shoulder blade. Didn't explode through like either of the other 2 rounds. Perfect hole through. Perfect hole through the top of the ribs. And then this is actually with a GMX hit. This is where that bullet hit. I was measuring the wrong wound channel, but that's still about a 3-inch wound channel. Bullet came in and stopped right there. So pretty impressive overall. Obviously the GMX did the most. It blew through the ribs. What, 13 inches? Definitely a deer killer. This would definitely kill a deer too, and did better than the spire point. Alright guys, so I'm here with the bullets. So I guess I'll start on the right side. The 62 grain spire point, you're probably wondering why there's no bullet there. That is because there was actually nothing to find. Looking at the gel, when you saw that dark cloud of copper, or lead I should say, 6 inches, it's pretty much like, like ground pepper. It was just dust. There was nothing to actually pull out. There was no massive bullet. There was nothing. There was no jacket. If I had to guess, the jacket most likely got caught in the ribs as they came out of the, through the shoulder and the bone. It probably, the core separated from the jacket. Jacket got stopped. And then the lead pretty much just vaporized itself. Now, the 75 grain boat tail hollow point here, there was 2 jackets and 2 cores. Somehow I lost one of the jackets, transporting everything back. The piece of jacket that I found is 11 grains. The one piece of lead is 22 grains. The other one is 18 grains, so pretty close. If I had to guess, the lighter one is from the one that hit the bone, and the heavier one is the one that didn't hit the bone. And then we move on to the GMX. So the GMX actually lost all of its petals. Now I'm assuming that that is from hitting the bone. The base that we got left here is a opened up to, without the petals, a 35 caliber projectile, and it weighs 47 grains. Now if you weigh every single one of these petals, it all adds up to 70 grains. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals. And these petals, they didn't all just fall off in one spot. They kind of fell off as the bullet was going through the gel. So there was one in the beginning, one, an inch more, one a couple inches more. So that would be quite devastating as it's actually going through the animal. You have these things going off on their own tangents, creating their own wound paths. And, you can see like this one's, got a little bit of a, width to it. That's probably, 0.25 of an inch wide. So my overall thoughts, if I was going to be deer hunting, I would opt for the GMX. It's the only one that got a decent amount of penetration. The other one, obviously the 62 grain just completely fell apart. Now stopping at 6 inches, if you blast through the animal's leg, then the ribs, and you're 6 inches into the rib cage, you should be in the, the lungs and the heart. You should kill the animal, but you're not going to get a blood trauma most likely. And, that shoulder was from a 150-pound buck. What happens if you run into a 200-pound buck? And kind of the same thing with the bolt tail hollow point. I mean, it did better than the 62 grain. We got chunks that I was actually able to find, but what if it was a bigger deer? And the other thing I want to point out is with the GMX and the soft point, I hit the leg bone, where with the hollow point boat tail, I hit the shoulder blade. So yeah, I hit bone, but different bone, so it's not a perfect thing. And I did do a test a few years back that I didn't tape or anything, but I shot a pork shoulder with a 75 grain boat tail hollow point, and it did the same thing that the spire point did. It pretty much just exploded and vaporized into the gel, and that one only went like 5 inches in. The pork shoulders are a little bit bigger than the deer shoulder is. So all in all, I mean, I think they all would have resulted in a dead animal, but the GMX, I think, is the only one you're going to get an exit wound and a blood trail. So if I had to pick one for hunting, it would be the 70 grain GMX.